Welcome to WrestleCast. This is August the 15th, 2017, and we are going to talk about Raw and a couple other topics. First, I want to go over Raw, and here's Nas to start the day. I got a new mic, so hopefully this really helps out. So, Raw was... I made a point because lately I haven't really been watching the product. I've been reading results instead of watching the shows. So what I figured is I would go detailed on what I thought of the show. Well, it started off with Ambrose and Rollins coming out, and it seemed like Ambrose was really into this. You could tell that for the first time in a long time, Dean Ambrose could actually sink his teeth into something. It wasn't a bullshit feud with The Miz. It wasn't something weak like has been going on for a while now. But Dean really, and they went back and forth, and then Ambrose and Rollins started beating the piss out of each other. And then you had Sheamus and Cesaro come out, beat them up, and then they fought back, and then they did the Shield bump, which signified two of the three members of the Shield are back together, and now they get back together, and automatically they get a WWE Tag Team title match. I don't have a problem with that because I think Sheamus and Cesaro are one of the weakest tag team champions we've had in a long time. Weaker than the New Day, weaker than when the Hardys came back. They've just been a horrible tag team champions. Like, honestly, when I think of the World Tag Team titles and them being tag team champions, I can't honestly think of a good, match they've had. A good feud. From there we had Nia Jax versus Sasha Banks. Now, for a match that's supposed to be a number one contenders match for the women's championship, and you could tell Sasha was going to win this. Now, normally I don't like women's matches. This one was decent, told a pretty good story, but it wasn't really built really well, in my opinion. It just wasn't. You knew Sasha was going to win because they kept saying she was from Boston, Bosstown, all that bullshit. So we know Alexa Bliss and Nia Jax have some history. I was hoping they would go that route, but instead, what happens to the monster woman's heel? She taps out. And it's kind of like you have this monster heel and you're not capitalizing on it, because they could make Nia Jax into how Awesome Kong was. I believe it was 2000. I think it was 2009. No, it was before 2009. It's when they first got the Knockouts title, and Awesome Kong came in there and ran roughshod over everybody. And I think that would have been really good to have. That would have been a really good thing to have, but instead, we don't get that. We got a pussified monster. Well, from there you have Elias Samson. Now, I don't get what the point of this was, but I used to think his gimmick was original. But then I've been watching What Culture Pro Wrestling on YouTube. And there's this guy, Joe Hendry, whose original gimmick is he would sing songs, popular songs, and make fun of his opponents. Elias, I like the gimmick. I like his work. But for feuds, his feud with Balor was really good. But for R-Truth to just come out and get beat down like a dog with I doubt they'll call the move what it's called. Tyson Kidd called it a corkscrew neck breaker. Perry Saturn was the first person I ever saw use it, and he called it the Moss Cover 3 Handles Family Cardunza, which is a Dr. Seuss Cat in the Hat reference. But that segment was pretty bad. even though I do like Elias. Now it's not Elias Sampson anymore, it's just Elias, because Vince McMahon hates last names. You also had the worst promo I've heard in a long time. You thought Roman Reigns' promos were bad. Well, apparently, people that Vince McMahon likes to push is bad. Oh, God. Big Cass did a promo about SummerSlam. And how crappy is it that Big Cass's promo he did was absolute garbage. Absolute garbage. Not only is it absolute garbage, but the match makes no sense. You've had Big Cass and the Big Show wrestle each other multiple times already, and they're going to wrestle again at SummerSlam. The babyface is the one in the shark cage. Big Show, Big Cass was doing the promo. Big Show came in with Enzo, and Big Show got beat down because Gallows and Anderson came out, who I think are the most underutilized tag team on the whole roster right now. And they beat the crap out of him. And Big Show tried to fight back, but then they slammed the shark cage door on his hand. Now, for those of you that thought this was a unique angle, let me take you back to, I believe it was 2006 at Elimination Chamber. Triple H destroyed the Big Show's hand before they had that match, so during the match, Big Show had his hand. Now, I know they're trying to make it a unique match, but there's rumors floating around that Enzo's going to turn on Big Show at SummerSlam. They're going to reunite Enzo and Big Cass, and they're going to be a heel tag team. Okay, if you're going to do that, why even break up the tag team in the fucking first place? It doesn't make any sense. The less said about that segment, the better. And then we had the Cruiserweight Championship on the line. So what they did was they took the Cruiserweight title off of Neville. Now, did they take it off one of the really good, talented people on there, like Daivari? Or when Austin Aries was there, how come he didn't win the belt? Or you could have, what the fuck ever happened to Rich Swann? Or anybody else? No, they put it on Tozawa. No, let me get this straight. Tozawa. The dude who, when he wrestles, looks like he's having an orgasm. I do not like Akira Tozawa. There's not much to him, and this whole Titus brand thing is not unique. They stole the gimmick from Famous B from Lucha Underground. And you know what? The Titus brand, so Dana Brooke is, from what I understand, is part of it. Apollo Crews is in there, and Apollo Crews hasn't won a match in fucking forever. And then you have Akira, who defeated Neville. Neville was an amazing Cruiserweight champion. He was. But what I'm going to get into real quick is the Cruiserweight division is not getting over. And I'll tell you why. Stories. When WCW had the Cruiserweight division, you had great rivalries, whether it was Rey Mysterio Jr. feud with Dean Malenko, or Malenko and Jericho was another really good one, and you had Ultimo Dragon's rivalry with Eddie Guerrero, Eddie versus Chavo. You had great Cruiserweight rivalries. Even the X Division has great rivalries. But this is just, it kind of rubbed me the wrong way. But let's talk about, there's a segment of the show I'm going to talk about last because it's my favorite part of the whole show. But then you have Emma and her Bitch Fest 2000. Emma's been bitching lately about how she's not getting over and then they have her wrestle Mickey, and instead of her getting a victory, she loses. Again, makes no sense. And then you have Jason Jordan, the failed experiment Jason Jordan, taking on The Miz. Jason Jordan is getting booed. People aren't buying it. People don't like him. It's not getting over. People are chanting, "We want Gable." Because Chad Gable is, sorry to say, Chad Gable is the better wrestler of the two and is using his wrestling ability to get over. He really is. He's using his straight up wrestling ability to get over. Jason Jordan is getting booed. He got booed again tonight, and then they had a 6-man tag, and when he was in the ring, he was getting booed. The Hardys were over as shit with their whole Awoken thing. Because they can't use broken, so they use Awoken, which I like, because periodically you'll hear obsolete, delete, broken. You'll hear all these chants. I actually like Broken Matt Hardy and Brother Nero. I think it's really cool, really interesting to me, but that's just me. So that was. You also had a brawl. Well, not really a brawl to me. So what they did is they had all 4 of the people that are going to wrestle for the Universal Championship come down to the ring, and you had Roman quickly take out Joe, Braun take out Roman, and you got a stare down, and they kept getting separated between Brock and Braun, which was supposed to be the original title match for Extreme for Balls of Fire, but that didn't happen. Now on that note, there's a lot of people online, even people like Paul Heyman, who are a champion for not Roman to get the title, not Braun to get the title, but Joe. Now since Samoa Joe was won that Fatal 4-Way, or it was a Fatal 5-Way, he excels at being a heel. Samoa Joe is great. And it's weird, for the longest time Joe has really just looked like he kind of gave up for a while, especially in TNA. But since he's been put in this position, Samoa Joe has been turning up the dial, being the Samoa Joe that made me a fan of his work in Ring of Honor and when he first came into TNA. And he is a great hand in that ring. I could see him and Roman Reigns having a really good feud. Him and Braun, or even him and Brock continuing their feud. I really hope the title goes on him and not Roman Reigns, because I do not want Roman to get the strap. And I don't think Braun's ready to be champion yet. So I really want to talk about what I thought was the best part of the show. Finn Balor versus Bray Wyatt. The match was really good. Back and forth was really good. And Balor, for the longest time, has just been Balor. But he's been more aggressive. And Bray, he's been on kind of a winning streak lately. He's been winning a lot of matches ever since Great Balls of Fire, where he beat Seth Rollins. So he's been on a roll, doing really well. He ends up beating Balor. So he beats Bray. Bray beats Balor clean in the middle of the ring, clean as day. And then what happens is the lights go up, they come back on, he has a bucket in his hand, and he's screaming some shit at him. Bray always screams some shit. Oh, and just to let you know, his whole Eater of Worlds thing, that's actually a Pennywise thing from It, just to let you guys know. This is funny, he pours fake blood on him, and the announcers call it a thick, acidic liquid. Why can't you just call it fake blood? What it reminded me of is Gangrel used to do the bloodbath when he was with the Brood, and that's what it reminded me of. And Balor portrayed it in the most awesome way. And that he portrayed that he was offended. And then that little interview segment after comes out of Kurt Angle's office, still has fake blood on it, and he says he's bringing the demon back. I knew it was going to happen at SummerSlam. I've been waiting and waiting. The demon persona, for some reason, I compare it to Undertaker in Hell in a Cell. When Undertaker's in Hell in a Cell, it is a completely different beast. So, Finn Balor as the demon is awesome. I hope he comes up with a new design, because periodically he'll come up with a new design for the demon. And I really think that should be cool. Balor and Bray, I am actually enjoying the feud. It's a little different, but you gotta have different elements to your show. It can't all just be one facet. Now, one thing I do want to talk about is, I haven't watched the show yet, but I read it, and I was pissed off. Baron Corbin cashed in Money in the Bank. Okay? I'm not pissed because of because he cashed in. I'm pissed that this is what they did. John Cena's on the apron, distracts him, gender rolls him up. That's fucking bullshit. That's dumb and that's stupid. Why would you have... Okay, you have Baron Corbin, who it would have been awesome if a couple days before the show, boom, he becomes WWE champion, and then you could have like a fatal 4-way, or you could have now Nakamura is added to the triple threat or anything. You could have, there's a lot of avenues. You could have had Baron Corbin has to defend the title 3 times in one night, but instead it's a roll-up. This is the bullshit writing that is ruining SmackDown and Raw, respectively. This is why I go out and find new companies. And speaking of finding out new companies, the companies you should really check out are Evolve. You should check out What Culture Pro Wrestling, Pro Wrestling Noah, House of Glory, which is every Friday at 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern. On Facebook they have shows. And if you live in Washington, Defy Wrestling. Defy Wrestling is one you should check out too. What Culture Pro Wrestling, every Saturday at noon on YouTube, they play Loaded Now. You can go back and watch their old stuff, but they have some great talents in that ring. Joe Hendry, El Ligero, Martin Kirby, War Machine, Will Ospreay, Gabriel Kidd, Rampage, Primate, BT Gunn, The Prestige, The Prospects. What Culture Pro Wrestling is a really good company to watch, because WWE right now isn't really at the top of their game. What they need is somebody to step up, and right now Ring of Honor is kind of in a weird phase, because Ring of Honor is in the middle of, what the fuck do I do? Because Ring of Honor has lost. These are the people they have lost this year alone. Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, who are both in WWE, Adam Cole, who just signed to WWE. War Machine is on their way out. Marty Scurll's contract is coming up. They lost Michael Elgin as well. I don't know if Jay Lethal's going to re-sign. They're losing so much talent. Their world champion isn't even signed to them yet. So what they really need to do is step up and really figure out what the fuck they're going to do. Because right now, they are not really doing that well. So this has been WrestleCast. I finally brought it back because I'm going to start watching some more. I'm going to do a review for TakeOver after I watch it. TakeOver is this Saturday. I will watch SummerSlam. I might not watch it SummerSlam night because that's 6 hours and I'm actually working on SummerSlam day. So stay tuned for more of that. This is Chucky, and I will see you guys in the ring next time.